In Love is presented by Smile Direct Club, who makes it easier than ever to straighten your smile without brackets, wires, and monthly office visits.
For $100 off your aligners, just go to smiledirectclub.com/podcast and use the offer code
In Love.
Welcome to In Love with Michael Rosenbaum
And Chris Sullivan,
where we explore the universal language of love,
walk through the struggles of love lost,
and together navigate the bumpy and gratifying road to happiness.
Loving me, loving myself, working on my state of mental health. And I never thought it would go this far. You said we'd just be friends, but I'm standing here full of emptiness. I confess, I'm a beautiful mess.
All right, this week on In Love, we have...
Before we do that,
What?
before we get into that,
Yeah.
we should probably just talk a little bit about, what's going on with you, man.
All right, go ahead.
Well, Jesus, man, now you make me uncomfortable.
Well,
You're staring at me. I'm just saying,
Listen, you have control of the podcast now. How do you want to go about
I
this?
just want to say that I want to ask you how your weekend was.
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good. It was good. We went to the Emmys this last weekend.
Right.
Took my parents. Anxieties were at a minimum. Stress was at a minimum. All of it was still there, but we all had a good time.
I've been to a lot of premieres for some great things, a lot of bad things, some things in the middle. Mm-hmm. I have never once brought my parents or family to any of them.
This was the first time I figured being nominated would be an excellent time to bring them, because people think it's this party, and most things in our industry are dressed up as a party. And it's not a party. It's a work event that is made.
It's not fun.
That is made to be flashy and it's not, it's not. I wouldn't call it fun. We're there to do a job. We're there to promote ourselves and to promote our shows and to promote our movies. And the red carpet is hot and hectic and chaotic, and it can be stressful, and it can be all of these things. And so for somebody bringing a friend who's unaware, or bringing a family member who's never done it before, adds a whole new level of I feel like I need to take care of them. I feel like I need to monitor them, make sure they're okay, right. which I did, and I feel like I did a good job of including them in the process. But it's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is. I can't even imagine. Oh my God, I have an anxiety attack. I downed some Xanax probably. Not now because I'm off that stuff.
Yeah, I CBD'd it.
Yeah, you got to CBD it.
Yeah, I CBD'd it.
Yeah.
CBD.
I got some CBD stuff I got to give you.
All right.
Uncommon Apothecary. I don't know why I'm promoting them on this podcast because they sponsor the other podcast.
Well, that's why. It's a good product.
They're fantastic, and I like them. And I'll give love to my friend Ryan, but I'm going to give you some stuff because you're going to love it.
Yeah.
By the way, we want to say thank you again. We're not going to beat a dead horse here, but every week we just, the numbers are growing, and thanks to you. And it's hard to get a show going in the beginning. And thanks again to Smile Direct Club for being our sponsor before they even know what the numbers are going to be. Thanks to you guys for sticking in there.
That's right.
So please spread the word and talk to your folks. Download our podcast.
Yeah, you can rate, review, and subscribe.
It helps.
You can also follow us on social media at In Love Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Hey, do you want to tell them who we have this week?
Oh, man. Elan Gale and Molly Quinn. They're friends of ours.
Elan is an author and a producer. Molly is an accomplished actress, and they make a kind of mystical couple.
They are, because he's this bearded, lovable, friendly, really smart guy, and she's a smart, sassy redhead.
They both look like fantasy characters. You know what? Since they're here, why don't we just invite them in?
My back I'm curved like an old snail shell.
Yeah, he doesn't have
mine
good
is too. I've had
posture.
somebody's. Yeah,
That's how I sit.
Well,
I'm 5'8", so I pretend I'm 5'4", so that
if you ever need to,
it's a
if you
surprise
ever
in
need
the
to
right
straighten
direction.
up and handle some shit,
Right,
people are
yeah.
like, well,
I have to
he's
have
growing.
a place to go.
He's growing.
Like a cat. I'm like a cat. I'm like a scared cat in
Now
all
listen.
moments.
listen. A lot of people. This isn't an insult. This is what's the matter?
That's always a good way to start.
That's how you start an
No.
insult.
It's not like hey, folks, Mandy Moore is on the show.
Yeah.
Elan Gale, Molly Quinn. It's not like, if you said Michael Rosenbaum on most shows, people are like, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Yeah.
Chris Sullivan, they probably do. He's on a hit show. He's just nominated for an Emmy. I've never been nominated for an Emmy. I've been nominated for a sci-fi award, the Saturn.
It's right behind you.
The Uranus.
Yeah, your award.
Oh yeah,
right
it's
there.
tucked away right there.
That's the
that's the
nomination
space. This is the
award?
space. Well, no, I won a couple awards, but but thank you. It's not about that. My point is, Elan Gale. It's not
I
like.
think it is about that.
I don't want to start with just a list of my credits, but here we go.
No, I'm saying. Look, what I'm saying is, God damn it, I can't. No matter what I say, I put my foot in my mouth. I'm just saying, you're an author, you're an actress, you're on Castle for many years, Molly. Elan, you were a producer, executive producer on The Bachelor. You've done a shit ton of stuff. So I'm just saying to my audience.
These are the least famous guests you've had in a while.
I'm saying that you guys are very interesting and you're a dynamic couple. And that's why we wanted you in here, because you have an interesting relationship.
Yes,
Yeah, that's true.
that's true.
Everything you're
okay.
saying is true, but it's also funny.
Yeah, it's very funny. Well, just
Your
like-
relationship or me? What I'm saying.
You.
Yeah, I don't always say the
are-
right things.
It's not even about that. It's that you say so many things that eventually things will be wrong.
They were wrong from the moment I opened my mouth. Molly, you immediately said, yes, we are.
Yeah, we're a thing. People want us around.
No. But when I said something else. I said not that you're an odd couple, but you're a
Special couple.
not special. What did I use?
Dynamic?
Dynamic
And you
duo.
said yes, we are. What did you mean? What were you thinking when you said that?
I was thinking that we're both really difficult.
True.
We're very difficult people. I'm probably more difficult than Elan.
I'm more
and-
damaged. She's more difficult.
I think I called
and we
you
never,
Elon.
It's the same. I don't hear the difference.
Whatever.
we never know how we're going to react around certain people. Like sometimes I feel fussy and sometimes he feels fussy. And yet all of our couple friends, or a lot of our couple friends, kind of look up to us. And it's a little weird. Because I'm like, I don't know, like we're just trying to figure it out like one day at a time. And
Well, this goes to show you like a really good example is that I don't disagree, but I would never categorize it that way in a million years.
what would you say?
I would say that they think that we live interestingly,
yeah.
and they find certain elements of our relationship to be fascinating.
Isn't
but
that all any of us are trying to do is live interestingly?
I think people want the idea of it, but there's also a lot of problems with living interestingly.
Yes.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just different. It's new problems all the time, and you don't necessarily have anything to go off of.
Where'd you guys meet?
Oh, but before we get there, because I think that's a great place to start. But I just want to say the one thing that I want to say to embarrass Michael and Molly before.
Okay, great.
Great.
This is the first time that the four of us were all together.
Right.
Was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
When you guys were shooting Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And
Well, and you.
Which
Yeah.
we had a great time.
We all
tonight.
four of us.
It was the most
all
fun
four of us
couple
were
of
shooting.
days.
Yeah.
But two things. One about each of you is that when we went to dinner
Yes.
after like the second day, I'd only seen you in makeup.
Right.
I had no fucking clue
Right.
that you were
So-
the same guy. Because you were doing
And you're like,
the voice.
and who's this guy?
Right.
So I had to go back to set on my day off, out of makeup, and introduce myself to the crew
I believe it.
because
I'm Taserface.
they literally they didn't know what I looked like because I was in makeup at 5 a.m. and would go out and get my makeup off and just leave. And yeah, so it took
Hey
me.
guys, I played Taserface, but my real name's Fuckface. Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
And then we spent so much time together with Michael
Oh my god.
that the last night we were in Atlanta, do you remember what happened?
I
wait a
don't.
minute. Did you tell me
I
this?
did tell you this.
What happened?
Was it something?
Molly was sleeping, and
Oh
Molly
shit! What happened?
Molly sleep talks a lot.
Yeah.
She sleep talks, she sleepwalks, she sleep gets up, and she was giggling. She does this thing sometimes where she giggles in her sleep, where it's like she's at a cocktail party, being,
Is it creepy?
being fake with people,
In the
and she
middle of
goes,
the night when it's dark.
and she just goes, and she's laughing, and she's like, and sometimes I can talk to her and like ask her like one question before she notices, and she's laughing and she's going, and I go, what's going on? And she goes, television's Michael Rosenbaum. She was dreaming about continuing the endless conversations with Michael Rosenbaum, but she referred to him as television's Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
It tells
Really?
you
He
how I
belongs-
Could have
think
been
about
Rabbi
you.
Michael
Yeah.
Rosenbaum.
He belongs to TV.
I guess that's why we wouldn't need to introduce you at the beginning of a podcast, because
Right,
it's
because even in my
television.
in my
television.
dreams.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
television.
it's funny because like, how long have we known each other?
I don't know, because I've seen you around so many years.
Yeah, I feel like I've known you since I was born.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel, look, I don't have any like real like memories that are my own until I was like 14 or 15.
What does that
And
mean?
well, like I have things that people have told me. I have things that I can imagine from my childhood, but they can't be fully real.
No,
Like,
no one has
yeah,
any concept of life before
yeah,
20.
even if it's like masking traumas or anything like that, like things that I know were real, bordering on things that I'm pretty sure couldn't be real. I don't want to worry about it too much. Like I have very distinct memories of like running around with a machete when I was a kid, like chopping down saplings and trees. No one should have let me have a machete as a kid.
Right.
So like if that is real, I'd rather believe it wasn't real. I would rather believe that I was watched more than that. So anyway, my point.
So it benefits you today
Yes, to be
to
like,
rewrite
I don't have to worry about
the
it.
reality of the situation.
I don't have to worry about
Go back to the bed. You're giggling. And Elon's like, what the fuck are you doing? Did you wake her up and go, why are you dreaming about Michael Rosenbaum?
No, I
or
understood. It's totally relatable.
Yeah, he.
Oh,
and
you
he-
you do it.
I do all the
He
time.
Usually it's a
dreams-
nightmare. No, I can't.
TV's Michael Rosenbaum. But yeah, no, I feel like I've just known you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
yeah.
I have memories of always.
And we were
seeing
talking
you.
at dinner, so it was like,
Yeah, but like it was also like you feel just kind of part of my family because.
Well, thank you.
It's like with an uncle or something like that. Like you don't really talk with them or anything
don't wanna be
until.
the uncle, though.
But you're like
How
an
about a
uncle.
cousin?
Sure,
It's more
and
like
a
an
much
uncle.
older
Distant
cousin.
cousin.
Definite
Sure,
uncle
distant
vibe.
cousin,
Distant in
whatever you
age.
want to say. Yeah, just anything much older.
Elon, do you remember me sexually harassing Sylvester Stallone? Do you remember me not like rubbing his arm and goes, yo, what are you doing?
I don't.
What?
But I believe. I remember that whole day
Wild.
was a lot.
You don't
of
remember him
stimulus
like
for
looking
me.
at my dot face going, what are you supposed to be? Pippi Longstocking? What is this? I'm like,
do
it's CGI.
remember-
CGI.
I
I was
do-
hoping it was CGI.
I
It looked
do
terrible.
remember that.
And I'm
I
like,
do
Jesus,
remember
slide.
that.
I go, and then I did this thing where I crawled my hand, my fingers crawled up his arm. And he
I
goes,
remember you
"Hey,
playing with his
hey."
fringe.
He goes, what are you doing? What are you doing there? I go, it's the gay spider. He's like, hey, keep your gay spider away from me.
I remember
right
you
now,
playing
right?
with fringe because he had fringy leather.
Yeah.
And
He
I
was a
remember
blast,
you were-
wasn't he?
He was so much fun.
Oh my God. He
I
was
remember
just
seeing him like shadow box with
He
his
was
manager, or
shadowboxing.
whoever that guy was that was with him. I looked over
Frank.
and did a double take because he was like, pop, pop, pop.
Yeah,
and
the
he was like
walking
doing
punching
the
bag.
punching bag thing.
Dude, Frank
And I
is
was
like
this is
the
weird.
90-year-old guy.
Yeah.
that just kind of like accompanied him. Sylvester Stallone, I saw the one moment because he's nice the whole time, right? He's really sweet.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, how you doing? Hey, the crew, hey, what are you doing? Give me the video. Let's take a picture. All that stuff. He's great. And then one time I saw that edge, that kind of like, Frank, come on, get over here. What did I tell you? What the fuck are you doing? Come on. And I heard it. Only me. I was like, whoa. And he's like, Frank,
Well,
come
Now-
here.
now the
you
world
heard it.
knows.
You
What the
heard.
fuck are you doing?
Well, you saw it twice then. First time when you sexually harassed him.
No, that was a fun. He knew I was playing, and by
Did
that
he?
time I felt comfortable with him. In fact, I brought my Rambo lunchbox and my my Rocky doll, and I go, "Can you sign?" He goes, "You got a Rambo lunchbox?
How many hours a night do you sleep?
How old are you?"
Michael? How many hours a night do you sleep?
Well, you think I don't sleep a lot?
I think you either sleep not enough or entirely too much, but I can't tell. How many hours do you sleep?
Last night was 7, and then I played tennis this morning.
You played tennis this morning?
Yeah,
I
What
went
time?
to the gym this morning.
I played tennis at 8 by myself.
What do you mean by
Against
yourself?
the wall.
Yeah, because nobody would play with me. My friend Harland and Sean weren't
I
up.
literally was on a path to be a professional tennis player and was coming over to your house this morning. You don't say you want to go play tennis?
You don't play tennis.
You guys are.
Are
so
you out of your mind?
accomplished.
I play tennis.
Well, why don't we do
I can
tennis?
play a little tennis. I want to be better.
You play table?
We all
No, I don't-
4 of us should have
no.
gotten together to play
Is
tennis.
that what you're
this
talking
morning.
Anytime-
about?
listen,
Are you talking about table tennis?
If-
or are you
no, I'm
talking?
talking about real tennis. But if
Yeah,
you guys
okay.
want to play, we'll go play tennis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will be the least skilled out of all of us, but I'm not bad. Alana and I have rallied.
yeah.
Is that what you call it? Is it rallying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both on
Yeah.
the court and in life.
Yeah.
Oh, we
So to answer
rally,
your
baby.
question, Chris, we met at a Christmas party.
How long ago? Is this a James Gunn Christmas
It
party?
was
Yeah.
James Gunn Christmas party 5 years
Yeah.
ago.
5
Maybe
years.
was it 5 years? Yeah, 5 years
Yeah,
ago.
it had to be 5
It was 5 years.
White
ago.
Elephant
That's right.
at the old house.
at the old house on Briarwood or
I'm
something?
not
I don't
going to
know.
comment on
in
that.
the valley.
Old house valley.
At the old house.
In the valley. I like that house.
And-
It's very dated.
And you hit it off immediately.
No,
No.
Whoa.
You
I
fell in
had-
love instantly, first glance.
Nope.
I had
took a long time.
a girlfriend
Okay.
at the time, and it was her first time meeting a lot of that side of my friends.
A true test.
And she was very cool, but I think she was understandably nervous,
Yeah.
which is fair. And so she was kind of on edge, and so I was kind of on edge. Then, so I was kind of just avoiding any particular conversations. Although, weirdly, I spent more time talking to her TV dad, Nathan Fillion, that night than I did most other nights.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
then, yeah, we had like a long, nice talk. And then Molly came up to me to say hello, friendlily, not a
Wait,
word.
she came up to you.
Yeah, to say hello, but it was just like a hello.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had been
I always had
separated.
a really hard time at those parties.
I'd been separated from the girl I was dating physically. She was across the room, and I saw myself from her perspective seeing me talk to Molly, so I kept it brief.
She
Sure.
was standing right next to you.
No.
Oh, yes, she was.
Oh, see.
She came over at the end of the conversation, and we walked away together.
Okay, you can't even call it a conversation. I literally was like, "Hi, what's your name?"
And I was
And he
like,
was like,
Elan.
You're like, too pretty to talk to, bye.
Yeah, that's what he says, but it's like it made me
Basically, yeah.
feel miserable. I was like, Jesus, like I can't talk to anyone.
Or were you
here.
nervous about the ex killing you, or
No, exactly. I didn't want to make her feel more uncomfortable.
Right.
So
right.
you know,
So he
I
sacrificed me.
I didn't know you.
I almost cried. I was really sad that
Shouldn't
night.
you put
Yeah.
the person you're with
Absolutely.
in front of?
That was
yeah.
pretty mindful, actually.
I'm terrified of
Unfortunately
other people's.
for you in that moment.
I was so upset that Seth Green actually came up to me and was like, "Are you okay?" That's how visibly upset I was.
Why were you
that
upset?
night.
You just felt dismissed?
I was really sad. I felt dismissed, not just by him, but like that whole setting was hard. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, look,
Yeah, talk about that.
5 years ago, I was like 21.
Ooh.
And it's like, yeah, I was on a show. Yes, I knew Nathan, but like more of a working relationship or more, again, like a family relationship. The same with James. Like, I couldn't talk with you guys. Like, what in the world
What
like
are
do
we
we
gonna
have in
talk about?
common?
What are we
Like,
gonna
what is
talk about?
what is there to
Are
talk
you talking
about?
about? You're talking about more of like the celebrity feel, like all these people that were celebrities. Because if it was no other people, if they weren't celebrities, would you have a problem, or is it that you feel uncomfortable around people who that you recognize? Or
It's not so much recognizing. It really is a bit of a, at the time, not so much now, like an experience and age difference. Because even if
She
we
has
could
a
talk
big
about
age
work,
difference from you, Michael.
I just want to make
Like
that
that's why
so
you're the
clear.
older,
Yeah,
elderly
that's why you're my
uncle.
uncle.
Well, why
in a
aren't
lot
you an
of ways.
uncle?
Because I'm 10 years younger than you.
But you're also 10 years older than her.
That's true.
yeah. But it's a happy medium.
But what does it matter?
I'm child.
What does age matter? Listen.
It doesn't. It
Real
doesn't.
quick, I'm going to say this because I want you to continue with that. Steven Spielberg, they did an interview with Steven Spielberg, and this
Heard of
surprised
him.
me. I think I've said this story, but I don't know if I said it here. But it surprised me because it was a close-up, and he goes, people don't realize, unless they really know me, how immature I am. I'm incredibly immature, he said about himself. He goes, but I'm also incredibly responsible. And that's what makes it okay. When you bring in completely irresponsible with completely immature, it's a recipe for disaster. But that made sense, and it made me actually encourage me because I think I'm incredibly immature, but I'm also responsible. I don't drink and drive. I don't.
It's great when you can
Well, that's
rationalize
just the
your
law.
behaviors.
That's just the law.
In a way, I think I'm really immature. I
You're
think I'm a
law-abiding.
47-year-old, but I think, people go, oh, you're dating a 29-year-old? Not right now. I'm just saying, yeah, but she's about my maturity level, and so what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
She could be your father, I'm like, fuck you.
I agree. You are, from my experience, you are immature, but you are responsible and you're a lot of fun to be around. And there's also trade-offs. Like, I think you're significantly more fun than I am.
That's probably true.
You're just more fun. It's true. I'm not a fucking fun guy.
I think
People
you're a
are
fun
like,
guy.
Why do you say that?
It's not because it's
Why aren't you fun?
because I'm in my head all the time, and all I'm thinking about, all I'm thinking about now is like my mortality, what it would feel like to be shot in the head. That's
Yeah,
how
he's been having that thought for the past
dark pretty quick.
couple weeks.
Yeah, it's just I have these I have a darker spirit.
And it's hard to
shall
deal
pass,
with.
though, my friend.
The
This too shall
interesting-
pass.
But this isn't a problem for me. Like this is just
This is ongoing?
Yeah, this is my
Wouldn't-
my baseline. Your baseline is fun, happy,
lies.
excitable.
Lies.
You think you're not fun and excitable?
Listen, Chris knows more because Chris has been able to really, we've had some really in-depth conversations and stuff, but I I've gone through hell just because you like you always hear about the clown at the party.
The clown's the saddest.
Oh, there's no question you're remarkably damaged, but
remarkably.
you're able to.
But I'm okay. I'm bettering myself.
And people experience good times through you. You bring that out in them, and that reflects back to you.
Let me ask you this about your current line of thinking about what it would feel like to be murdered in the head.
Yeah, thank God you asked him.
I'm really surprised you brought this up.
Do
Alan.
you?
It's been fucking.
But let me ask you this,
I know.
because I don't think that's necessarily, if those thoughts are processed in a mindful and present way, necessarily a bad thing. Do you think that being able to explore those lines of thinking is in a kind of unattached, unemotional way helps you live an interesting life?
Yeah,
But he's emotional about it.
I am emotional about it. But I do think that indulging your thoughts, whatever they are, is a worthwhile thing to do most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that necessarily bad thoughts are bad to have. I think that fear and anxiety and I wrote a whole book about this.
I know, we're going to talk about it.
We're
going to talk about
fear
it.
and anxiety and rage and anger and sadness are really useful parts of the human experience. And while they're not pleasant, they're important. So, sometimes I'm in a great mood and sometimes I'm not. But that doesn't really matter. It's all part of just being a person and being, nothing scares me more than when I look at someone's Instagram account and they have the same smile in every picture.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel like they're not experiencing a smile and they're not experiencing anything else.
Exactly.
Yep.
The book is called "You're Not That Great,
Yeah.
but Neither Is Anyone Else."
It's a good title.
You also
It is
have
a really
calendar.
it
You
is
have
a
little,
really good title.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
a little thing you gave me.
Molly,
Turn your
calendars.
smile upside down.
Molly, when you read that book, I'm assuming you've read it.
She was with me the whole time writing it.
Yes,
What
and I've read it a couple times.
She did. She read it early
Scare
draft.
you?
what did you learn about him
No.
that you didn't know before? Or
Nothing.
did you nothing?
It's part of what makes us work, and it's also, I think, part of what I struggled with before I kind of got out of my own head was like people thinking that I was an optimist and that I had my shit together, and really kind of falling for that because that's what everyone around me was saying, and that's a character like I was portraying that like everyone saw. And it was hard to be like, wow, I'm not as smart as this person. I'm not as glass half full as this Alexis Castle, but people are expecting me to be that way. And I don't know what to do. So it made me really confused and soul searching and figuring some stuff out and like getting healthy separation from my family. And then Alana and I becoming friends and going through a lot of bad relationships to the point where it was like,
Sure.
look, I can be honest now. Like I'm very angry. And I need someone that I can be honest with that about because I'm able to like do the things I love, but I can't do it to the best of my ability if the person I'm with doesn't understand that I'm just fucking mad all the time.
All the time.
What do you do when she's
All the
angry?
time.
What do you
I'm
do?
angry all the
She's
time.
always angry.
And like getting to express it, it doesn't get bottled up, so it never becomes a problem.
Oh, okay, but hang
So-
on. How do you? Hey, fuck.
Calm the
Look,
fuck
I get
down.
angry.
The only
I don't
things
get
that
angry.
make me happy are Piper and Pikachu, are two small dogs. They're the only thing
Well,
that I look at. and I
Elon
go,
makes you happy.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but like I mean joy. I mean complete joy. Like taking care of them, no matter how I feel. I'm like, I have gotten you a haircut, or I blew you dry today,
Jesus.
or I gave you this little kibble that you really like. Like you are my baby, and you love me no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's only because there's no good feedback from the
Yeah,
dogs.
they can't talk back to me,
because
so
they
it's
can't
great.
correct you.
Yeah, they can't.
This is going to be an odd question.
Right.
This is going to be an odd question.
I don't like the fucking blow dryer.
Yeah. I'm not dry on the bottom.
Yeah, they hate the
Jesus.
blow
Check the
dryer.
belly.
I actually do check the belly. I hold them up and I have a little
Elon.
comb and I
Yeah.
comb
Elon.
their bellies.
Do you honestly think, if you were to be honest right now,
Yeah.
do you both think you're miserable people?
No.
I believe that Molly is not.
I'm
I
not
believe that I
miserable.
generally am.
You think you're a miserable person?
now-
I
why-
think I think my baseline is relatively unhappy.
Why?
I think that's my genetic code. Honestly, I think that I'm basically. I was thinking about this last night a lot. Is that I've been obsessed with my own mortality and death since I was like 3. I would run into my parents' room crying about the fact that I would die eventually. I'm just kind of wired that way.
Does it make you miserable?
When
you
I'm
not
engaged
enjoy-
with those,
Yeah.
here's the thing: is that I think that part of the problem is that like people like to have a singular notion of themselves
Sure.
or of others. I think it's very natural. We like to categorize things, and that's a very important part of life, is figuring out how to save time by not taking in all the necessary data in order to make an assessment. If you got to know everyone really well, you would be out of time immediately.
Right.
So we have to do that, including ourselves. But I think that the idea that a person is a thing, as opposed to like a vast collection of amorphous experiences and feelings that blend into one another, like I'm probably unhappy more than I'm happy.
Okay.
I'd say 60-40 or 70-30, but unhappy isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that's
Right.
my
You talk
characterization.
about that a
Yeah.
lot in the book.
Yeah.
You talk about that a lot in the book. And I think that
Yeah, taking the stigma away from that is what makes us work
Exactly.
and what makes Elan a breath of fresh air.
Are you attracted to his misery?
No, I'm attracted to not feeling like I have to pretend like everything is a learning experience and I'm going to get through this. Like coming from a place and like having parents that were very well meaning, but that it's all an upper trajectory. And like, you're happy here. And if you're doing this, you should do this next year. If you're making this amount of money, you should make, because that's how they look at things. Like my dad started a business and that has been his plan. That isn't how art works.
And there's nothing wrong with that
finally
either. It's just different.
It's fine. It's just not the same thing.
Yeah.
So finally being with someone who understands that it is a sliding scale and that sometimes I will go back to go forward, and that is, it's not only okay, it is normal. This is how I feel. And he makes me feel normal.
Still coming at you with Smile Direct Club. They've been with us since the beginning, throwing in their support, making this show free to all of our listeners, and we've been using the aligners, haven't we?
Yeah, guys. I was just telling Sully, my teeth are substantially, they're not even substantially, they're straight. This absolutely works. There's no putting these little, what braces and all this
Yeah.
crap. It's this like little mouth guard, this night thing. I put them in, and within like 4 or 6 weeks, I noticed a huge difference in my teeth. So
they look
look,
great.
this shit works.
I've got a little bit longer to go just because I needed to move my teeth a little bit further. They were a little more crooked than yours. So, but I'm definitely noticing the difference, and
Feeling more confident.
Feeling more confident. The aligners are also kind of acting as like a night guard for my teeth, so I'm not grinding them as much at night, which is a huge benefit. But yeah, so we went into their Smile Club store in Beverly Hills, got a little 3D scan of our teeth.
It was so easy and fun. We actually had a good time on the monitor. You get to see your teeth, which they put this little
camera.
It's so
thousands of photos. They sent us this beautiful box full of everything we needed to straighten our teeth. Not only straighten, but also whiten our teeth.
Oh yeah, and that's so fun to use.
And so they've offered us not only their support in making this podcast possible, they're also offering our listeners $100 off your aligners if you go to their website, SmileDirectClub.com, and put in our gift code
In love.
In Love. It's that simple.
It's that easy. In love, you get $100 off. You want to do it. It comes in this really, they call it blurple box.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, easy to use. I think you guys are going to really dig this.
They support us. Go support them.
Smile Direct Club. Do you ever say to her, or do you vice versa? Do you ever say, stop being so fucking condescending? Or stop being, do you feel like there's
I think
that?
she feels that way a little bit with me once in a while, which I think is also fair.
Is it because you're condescending?
I don't think. Here's the thing. There's a couple things. One is I have a tendency to speak in a really authoritative tone.
True.
Just generally with everyone.
Professorial.
I do. I
Yes.
do. I speak that way. So I think occasionally that I blends into our home life and can be a little bit annoying. I'll take that.
That's a perfect way of describing
I
it.
think
We
it's fair.
literally just had this conversation last
It's really
night.
a tonal thing. Like I never say things that
Perception.
are mean,
Yeah.
but I'll
Never.
say like, "Here's how I'm feeling." I just sound like kind of like
Here's the truth of the situation.
I sound like a guy on the radio who's kind of a dick.
No, you sound like a producer. You sound like a problem-solving guy in charge.
Here's the problem, and here's how we're going to fix it.
Right, exactly. So I think that sometimes because that's how I deal with my life, and she's in my life, and I'm in her life.
Yeah.
That occasionally, when I'm dealing with joint problems, I approach them in the way that I approach my issues, and she may need more kind of like freedom to express her many various thoughts about things. I tend to be more direct, and she tends to be more passive, and we both need to allow each other to have room in the middle. We're not the same. I think that's, you know,
I'm much better at like being in charge in my work life, but then because I'm good at that and I recognize what he's doing, I need our personal life, which honestly we really have to carve out time for,
Right.
To be very personal and to be very flowery, like language wise.
And Molly likes to work off of, as a human, I think, she likes to work off of feeling an emotion.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Reactive.
Yeah, well, reactive and also like exploring. Like she likes to go in and out of emotions and see how they go.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm
like a little fucking asshole.
That's true.
Well, it's interesting because it sounds like you observe your feelings. You don't
talk about it a lot.
You don't become them. You're like, oh wow,
what does that mean?
Wow, look at this, look at this anger I'm feeling. Let's explore this.
Yeah.
And there's a curiosity there that allows you to not be taken over by it and actually more investigating
Like Chris and I,
what it's like
with anxiety. We're like,
that's what
get
we're
away! Anxiety, please get off! No, don't.
But it's like I'm hyperlogical, which is really great for problem solving, but not always great for working through emotions.
Sure.
So that is, you know, like I feel the emotions,
because
but
as
I
you
shut
said,
them off.
Emotions are not problems.
Emotions are not goals.
Right.
That, I mean, and they're not problems either.
Right.
But like I think going back to that initial conceit is that the idea that being unhappy on a regular basis is a bad thing, I think is a missing element.
Yes, this
like,
is one of the
being unhappy is fucking fine.
This is one of the
Wait.
biggest.
It's honestly how you make things happen.
I'm confused.
This is one of the biggest
In a good way.
things. Let me flip it the other way. I think you're both talking about.
And I want to stay on that. Don't drift away from his anger's good or being unhappy's good.
You're pulling me away from it right now.
No, don't go there.
The biggest thing I learned from your book is that happiness is a bullshit goal.
It's a
makes
terrible
you miserable.
goal.
It actually makes you miserable.
Actually, and no one had ever put it to me that way before. And to set an emotional state as a goal,
right,
is going to ruin your fucking life.
It's going to ruin everything, and I think that universally one of the biggest problems we have in our nation is that people have an expectation of happiness as opposed to expectations that they can control.
That they are owed happiness.
Yeah, that
they are owed.
We've you know, again, this is a very privileged conversation. Like you have to like already have all of your basic human needs taken care of in order to have these kind of thoughts.
Right.
So it doesn't apply to everybody. But for the most part, we're taught the world is here to accept you and to invite you in and to make you happy and to let you live your dreams, which is a wonderful idea, and it's totally poisoning everybody. It's just poison.
Right.
The idea that you're supposed to be happy is poison. I want you to be happy, if that's what you want. That'd be great. But responding honestly, emotionally to the things around you, hopefully you'll end up being happy. But trying to choose happiness to me is to disregard the actual emotions you're having as a person.
Whatever they may be.
And that's your humanity. Your humanity is your level of emotions and the wide, you know, if we were supposed to just be happy, if there was such a thing as supposed to be.
Right.
And if we were supposed to just be happy, then we'd be happy. We wouldn't have adversity and issues. What we have is a collection of wildly vacillating emotions that are mostly unpleasant.
One of the best things Elan said to me really early in our relationship, of course, we were already living together because we moved in together really fast.
Why waste time?
Why waste time?
They left that party and moved in together
all the time.
It was
Kind
crazy,
of.
yeah.
It was wild. No, I was like, I told him one day, I like admitted, I was like, you know, I woke up happy today. And then the rest of the day, like, I've kind of been upset, like, and I don't really know what to do about it. And he was like, Molly, if you felt a moment of happiness today, that's like, you're winning. Like, there are people that like genuinely don't feel that or go, he's like, I didn't feel happy at all today or at all this week. And it was really refreshing to be like, okay, this is not a state that I should expect to be in all the time.
You know what? Saying that, it puts a brand new perspective on things. So thank you for that. But what I'm thinking right now, I appreciate you laughing at me, is being in the car and thinking, I don't know how many times where I'm driving, I'm like, God, I just don't feel great. I feel tired and I don't I'm anxious and I just feel like I don't know if that interview went well. I don't know if like am I a good enough person? Do I need what? And all of a sudden you get just they keep coming.
Yeah. Do my dogs really love me?
And well, I don't go that far, but no, I do. And then I stop myself now and I say, stop.
Yeah.
This is a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could be present and say, hey, I acknowledge it. Like you said, I acknowledge this moment. I acknowledge this. But do you remember yesterday when you were hanging out with your two friends and how much laughter you had? And, somebody said, hey, I really liked, the podcast, or they were genuine about it and it made you feel good, or, you helped, fed the homeless, or you were doing something altruistically, whatever. Moments, these are just moments along the way. You're going to feel bad. You're going to feel happy. You're going to feel good.
Sure.
Happiness is real. I believe it's real.
It is real.
But yes, you're right. People are always striving to be happy. I just have to get back to that feeling that I had 3 weeks ago.
Right.
No, just live in the moment and moments will change.
Yeah, or strive for variety.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Strive for a life.
Everyone's also different, right? But if you look at that moment that you just described, right, and you're talking about driving in a car and you're feeling bad and you're wondering if you did anything good and if you were fucking good enough or if you did a good job at something, you have two options there. You have the option of saying, I'm going to leave this moment, which is the opposite of what you think you're doing. I'm going to leave the thoughts I'm actually organically having, and I'm going to choose to feel something else. Now, that's fine. It'll make you feel better. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's your choice. What it has done, however, is it's removed the urgency of the moment you were actually in. So if you're feeling bad about yourself and you're questioning the interview you just did or whatever, and you're thinking about that, and you allow yourself to sit in the unhappiness of that moment, it can be instructive. Mm-hmm. You can use that moment later to do better in the next interview.
Yep.
Or you can avoid it. And by the way, there is no right way to do it.
Right.
But choosing to be happy is not the better option. It's just one.
I think that what you're saying is everybody's different. That's what you prefaced it with. And I think what I'm feeling right now is that if I leave that moment, I go, fuck that, I'm going somewhere else in my mind. If you are a depressed person who's consistently depressed, anxious, all these things, you cannot linger in those moments like other people who don't suffer like that.
Yeah.
It's okay, I would say, to someone with a fairly stable disposition that's can see things a certain way, that could say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take time and resonate in this shit that I'm in. And I could think about it and go, could you have done better? Yeah. Could you have articulated more? But other people, you should get out of that.
Well, again, it depends, right? I think if you have to know yourself. I've dealt with suicidal ideation since I was 12 years old. And I totally allow myself to sit in those moments, and I have no plans of committing suicide. That's not in the plans for me. But I don't stop myself from thinking about it.
But what if
when
you
it
keep
happens
thinking
naturally.
too deeply?
I have for months at a time.
Well, here,
what do you? I mean,
Isn't that dangerous?
Hold on.
Yeah, probably.
There are things in our lives. There
You
are
live
things
on the edge. When you stop drinking, you really need, some spice in your life. So we spend
Quitting
that by
drinking
thinking
also
about...
takes away the impulsive nature.
When did you
But
do that?
here's
5 years ago.
my question.
2 years ago.
So there are things 3 years ago.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
baby. How about you, Michael?
Not an alcoholic.
Uncle Michael. That's
I'm a
nice.
pill popper, and I stopped that.
Okay, good.
There are things in our lives that make life unmanageable, right? Or that and there are certain people who can have 2 beers and then that's it for them.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about that. There are certain people who can, for a month at a time, have suicidal thoughts and it doesn't become a problem for them. But the difference becomes, like you were talking about, I think I've recently uncovered, like the drinking, all these things, that I have an addiction to anxiety. I create anxiety in my life to give me that rush, to give me that adrenaline, to give me that, and it just
nothing's wrong. Let me find something so I can worry.
And so feeling anxiety, I don't avoid anymore because it only makes it worse.
Right.
I recognize it, I explore it, I get curious about it. And as much as I can, as best as I can.
Right.
But I also do try to find or come up with tools and ways to get myself out of it and on to the next thing. Because if I stay too long, it makes life unnecessarily uncomfortable.
Are you saying that with anxiety, you said you're addicted to it? Use the word addicted. You're addicted to anxiety.
Our brain, all of the drugs that we need to get high already exist in our brains. Serotonin, dopamine, adrenaline, all of these things exist. And we can use drugs. We can use sex. We can use food. We can use skydiving. We can use love. We can use relationships. We can use the gym. We can use acting. We can use just about anything to get those drug hits in our brain. So yeah, the emotional states I can become dependent on them, because it's all brain chemistry reactions. And if I can get my brain to do that over and over and over again, I become like a rat with a
How do I stop that? How do I stop it? I don't want to be addicted to anxiety.
You have to sit in it and then figure it out like you've done. I mean, like, I think, Elan, you said, like, know yourself so that you can figure out your patterns and what you can sit in and like what you can't sit in. Because also, like, you know, when you're alive, people put their patterns on you because we interact with people all the time. So like, let's say you were I was in a relationship where someone, anytime I felt good about something, they immediately were like, no, like that actually didn't go well. Walk me through it. Oh, I think that could have actually been better. And it caused this thing where Elan and I actually just talked about it and figured it out. I was like, wow, this audition went really well. I immediately want to tell myself I'm a horrible piece of shit that could have done so much better. And I'm like, this is because of that. This is because of a person that I was with for a significant amount of time that made me feel this way. This is not me. So how do I cut this out now? How do I soul search, figure out, because it didn't feel right, but it still existed because we interact with people every single day, right?
Sure. It's real. Yeah, so it's real, but it's not true.
But it's not mine.
There's two things.
That's good.
There's two things there. One is relearning behavior, but just really quickly, part of the thing is if you take away the issue of being unhappy or being depressed or being anxious or having terrible thoughts as a bad thing, then you're free to talk about them.
Right.
And then you can get feedback.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's the thing, is that any of these things to the extreme on an individual level, problematic, always, including happiness. But if you're able to talk about them with people and be open and honest and not worry about their judgment, which is why you have to fill your life with people who are willing to listen to you.
That's what I'm doing now.
Non-judgmental.
Obviously, that's what we're doing. I feel like if I
It's
talk
so
about
important.
it, it's going to help me. Because not talking about it has not helped me.
Well, and that's true vulnerability, right? Like anytime I talk to Elan, I'm like, I feel really vulnerable
I don't
that
have a
I'm
choice.
admitting this, but I need help. And it's finding like those friends. And if you're lucky enough to like have it be a person you live with or like, you know, your boyfriend or girlfriend, but it's also your friends. And
Because
it's also the family you choose to have
with
around.
You want to know if you're really saying, I'm anxious, I'm this, you're going to know who your friends are.
We all need help.
I think part of the problem that we have as adults is that we assume that we are the finished product all the time. Right. So like she reached adulthood with this misconception that everything she's done should be kind of mitigated and seen as a lesser version than it was. And for some reason, when we get to an adult age, we start going, oh, I'm me now. I wasn't me before, but now this is me.
I found myself.
But we're never me. There's no such thing. All of these behaviors are learned.
It comes and goes every day.
And the idea that you are somehow, that's why the concept of like, I'm happy with who I am, and because everything that happened to me led me to be this person now, is a super damaging construct because it implies that somehow you are a finished product.
Yeah, why give yourself a ceiling?
You know what? Mia is our engineer who you haven't talked to really yet.
No, but made good eye contact.
But Mia, I noticed that had some resonance. I thought of you when he was saying that. I thought of myself and all of us, but then I thought of you because you've been evolving, and in the last 6 months or so, your life has changed a lot because you've kind of sort of come out that you're a trans woman, and that's a huge step.
Yeah, it's different for sure.
And how is that? I mean, do you feel like, okay, you're not even close to being where you're going to be, and you have a long way to go?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with like everything, the way that you look, voice stuff. I mean, it's weird to be in a state of metamorphosis at 25, and you kind of have to be okay with that.
Well, I can't even imagine like being 25 because I'm still
You can't
trying.
imagine being 25.
Well,
You can't remember being 25.
I can't. But
What's
you know,
that like?
I for me, it's like, imagine go back to 25 for all of us except for you because you're 25.
I'm 25.
And Molly's 25.
Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself. Both of you
Molly?
get But when I'm
What's it like to be 25?
okay,
Sometimes
sorry,
it's
I
great.
keep thinking you're older because you have a more mature,
For sure, this is what people say, and it's
You do.
very funny.
But it is funny, but it's also real.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is that when I'm 25, when I'm 30, when I'm 35, I do kind of care what other people think. I don't want to, and I'm learning to not give a fuck, but you still give a fuck. Imagine being a 25-year-old guy who says, I'm a trans woman. I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And I am fucking at 25. Talk about fuck you, here I am. And anybody, you're going to get the real friends and real people who love you and accept you right then and there. Whereas us, they don't really know us, except you two might know each other, Elan and Molly, but they don't really know my dark shit and my fucked up shit.
Has that been your experience, Mia?
I mean, that's sort of the lucky thing about, and that's by design, of like moving to LA, making friends, and within my first 6 months here, coming out. Like all of my friends at home, you know, I have like 3 close friends there, and then the rest of them I knew because of like church. None of them talk to me because I'm an atheist and I'm trans, I'm queer as fuck, and like we don't have as much in common because they're married and they have kids. And
Sure.
you know, I've by design made friends that fit into the life that I want.
Well, good for you.
And I would just say what you just said about being 25 and being in the middle of metamorphosis. I think that's the most natural state, whatever that is. Like, I think it's weirder if people are not acknowledging their constant changes, and it can be anything. You know, obviously yours is more defined, but it doesn't mean that it's different necessarily. I think
it is a very natural state, and if we all, as you were saying, would live in that change,
consistent fluidity,
instead of trying to arrest things as they are, especially when it comes to happiness. Oh God, I'm happy in this moment. How can I keep everything exactly the way it is?
Yeah. And there are people that transition in their 70s. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't imagine that. Like, you have kids in their 40s, you have grandkids, you have all these established relationships, and then suddenly you're like, hey, guess what? For 70 years I felt this way, or for a long time I felt this way, and I haven't expressed that because whatever, social stigma, or you couldn't do whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go to the questions. I love that. Let's go to some questions.
I am looking for some advice for a pretty tough situation I'm in. My roommate and friend of 10 years broke up with his girlfriend about 6 months ago. And about 3 months ago, her and I started dating. He doesn't know about it. None of our friends know about it. We really like each other, but we're trying to figure out if we tell people, if we don't, if we keep it going. I don't want to lose my friend. I don't want to lose her. So just looking for some advice. Thanks.
All right. Well,
when is your lease up?
You know what? Hey, you know what?
I just want to say I don't feel qualified to give anyone advice about anything, especially relationships.
Yeah.
And this is a thing that I've actually been saying and being very honest with my friends about recently. Because like they'll ask me like, Molly, like you've done so much. Like, how do you feel about this? And it's been really refreshing and a little scary to tell them like, I can't give you any advice. The only thing I've learned is that no one actually knows what's going on. And like, well, you know you're going to work again. I'm like, no, I don't. I got no clue. And I'm not going to pretend that I do know. Like, I'm in class. I'm doing this. That you're going to work again? Well, yeah, your TV's Michael Rosenbaum.
No, you're going to work
Television is a Michael Rosenbaum.
All right, well, that being said.
But I'm happy to give advice.
I'm going to let Elan give advice because he's really good at it. But like,
listen,
I'm not saying
Elan,
that just because I don't feel qualified because I'm 25 and I'm in metamorphosis.
Hey. By the way, I appreciate when someone could just sit back and say, and by the way, we're not qualified. We always preface it with, we're not qualified. These are our opinions, but you know, I've sort of been in that area and I've seen it happen and it never ends well. I will say that if this is one of your best friends,
what's a good ending?
I'll tell you what a good ending is.
Okay. What's a good ending?
Well, for me, if one of my best friends, let's say my friend Rob was dating this girl and it ended, right?
Yeah.
And then I was really attracted to his ex-girlfriend. The first thing I would say was, dude, I don't give a fuck. Bro code, I don't care. I am loyal to a fucking fault. I will immediately go, if I feel like this I go, hey, Rob, I'm going to throw it out there. Would you freak out if somebody ever went out with your ex?
Yeah.
And if he goes, absolutely, fuck, like, are you serious? I'm like, dude, I love you. You're my best friend. And if you don't want me to go there, I won't go there because there's a lot of other women out there. And let me tell you, if I'm thinking that's my soulmate, it's almost 50% ends in divorce. 99% of the time it doesn't work out. I'll find a fucking another one. I'm not going to lose a good friend that I love. So that's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a very valid opinion. It's not particularly helpful to this guy.
Well, he can make a decision.
Well, here's the thing. So he's already walked over that threshold. Right. He's already in a relationship with the person who was with his best friend.
I mean,
it sounds like
it was just kind of starting, no?
But
for
I mean, like
3 months. They've been together for 3 months.
If you've had even if you've just expressed extreme desire, you've already broken what should be kind of an unspoken bond between you and your friend.
I hear you.
He's going to lose one of these people for sure. He wants to have both. It's unlikely. It's not impossible, but it's really, really unlikely. But either way, he can't continue living with this person. That's the first and foremost issue, right? He has to get the hell out of this living situation because even if he were to end it with the girl today and say, I'm focusing on my friend, that doesn't mean that friend is necessarily going to forgive him or understand or think that that's somehow...
How does he keep it a secret?
Well, he doesn't. He has to move out immediately. Get out.
Well, he knows it's like not a secret anymore, right?
No, he knows. The friend doesn't know. The friends don't know.
Well, yeah, no names, and his friend probably doesn't listen to this.
Yeah, but how dare you insult your own listening audience?
There's going to be so many paranoid roommates out there now. Like, I listen to this show.
Hey, you fucking Joan! What?
But I mean, he needs to move out. And then he needs to decide how to address it. There's only two ways. He calls the friend, the best friend, and he says either, I am in a relationship with your ex. It is very important to me. I need both of you. Will you accept that? And then it becomes the friend's option, right? The other option is to break up with the girl and still move out and say, I made this mistake. Will you let me back into your life? But at this point, he's made all the decisions without letting the roommate have any kind of agency in his own life.
Hang on a second. But how about this? How about he just does this? I don't condone lying. I won't lie. However, in this particular case, let's not say you've been sleeping with her. Let's not say, just say, hey, we've been friends. This happened, but there was a spark, and I've never found anybody in my life. And I don't know, I think there might be something there, but listen, I love you if your friendship's more important to him, and then maybe just say, but don't say I've been fucking your ex and all.
I wouldn't frame it that way,
I wouldn't say it. It's unnecessary because if he goes, cool, dude, if that's what you want to do, cool. I think if you said, I've had sex, that friendship's over. If you've been sleeping with his ex,
but
that's just weird,
but that's
wacky, wild
that's
stuff.
a normal result of you making poor decisions. If the friendship's over, you deserve for the friendship to be over, frankly. You've done something that is terrible. And at this point, I think that the person who called has relinquished all agency as to what this relationship with his friend is. They're no longer in charge because they've taken action. The other person's sitting back thinking they have a friend. That person is actively deceiving them on a daily basis. So that other person now has to have full decision-making power.
As one
Elan does not like liars.
Listen, one of the themes that came up in this, and it is a simple, age-old theme. Know thyself. Above all else, know thyself. I think that's why you two work so well together. I think that's why your friends look at you a certain way, because you each know yourselves individually, and that makes space for each of you to exist exactly as you are together. And this guy needs to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Listen, what are your motivations behind this? Now, if he dated this girl for 10 years and you've been friends with this guy for a long time, you've known this woman for a long time. It is not out of the realm of possibility that you know her very well and have fallen in love with this woman.
Totally.
And find her to be attractive and intelligent and all of these things. But you don't get to lie to your friend.
Yeah.
So you
can be. I agree. You can be in love, and you should. If you feel that, you should pursue it fully.
Right.
But you should get out of the house and then have an honest conversation about it.
Right. And then the chips fall as they may, and you've made your choices. And you may lose a friend or you may lose a partner, but either way, you're torturing yourself and the other people in your life going on.
Every hour that passes, it can only get worse.
Let's go to one more question. Let's go to one more question here. That was a great. By the way, that was the most intense we've had.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that was a controversial.
Question or answer?
The question was intense.
Oh, okay. Because Elan gives very intense answers.
No,
He's
both.
This is
very
me
good
being
at
condescending
stuff.
again.
You know what I know?
Get out of the house, John.
Yeah. No.
I would never
You
call
fucking
you...
gave up all of your fucking rights to have decisions in these relationships.
Real quick,
John.
I would never
Darren.
call you
Kevin Spacey.
condescending. You're not
Is that who it was?
condescending.
Was that Kevin Spacey?
I don't know.
No, listen to me. This is.
I don't
no.
intentionally
You mean
do
This
he,
is
Kevin
not
he who
Spacey.
shall not be named?
Did I ask for an equal? God damn it! Did I do that? Sorry. Go ahead. Next question.
Anyway, this question's pretty intense too.
Oh
so
shit!
get ready.
All right.
It's more fun.
Hi, this is Kyle, and I have been married for 20 years, and I'm trying to get my wife to watch soft porn with me, just to try to spice things up, but she refuses. So is there any compromise or anything else I'm missing that maybe isn't as bad as soft porn, and I can spice it up with her a little bit?
No,
Thanks.
no, John. No, there's no compromise.
You already have the compromise.
Soft?
John, no. You've asked. You've made it. You've made a want and need known, and your wife said no, thank you. So move on.
Hang on,
I
Chris.
agree.
Sean, hang on.
Yeah.
Elan,
Are you going to suggest Clockwork
hang on,
Oranging
Elan,
her?
Did you ask Molly out once or how many times?
She asked me out.
How many times before you said yes?
Once. About an hour.
Okay, but there are some relationships where people keep asking and asking, and because they really want to go. Now, you're married 20 years. She loves you. If you've asked her already many times, has he said that? Did he ask her?
It sounds like if he's calling you, I think he's mentioned it more than once.
Well, here's the deal. If he said hardcore porn, or just porn,
yeah.
then I would say, okay, you asked her a couple of times. She doesn't want to do it. She's not comfortable. You know, I kind of get it. But I think, if you're saying soft porn, what's soft? Isn't soft porn like fucking Charlie's Angels?
It's beside the point.
It's how we
beside
view the
point.
porn is irrelevant.
What's besides the point? You're looking at me upset.
Interested.
Chris, tell me why.
She's not, because know thyself, John. Why is this important to you?
He wants to mix it up.
Well, maybe he can mix it up by deepening his intimacy with his partner through an intellectual conversation. Throwing on porn is not mixing it up.
It's not odd. People have. I've never done it.
I'm not
but people
saying
have done it.
Hold on. I'm not saying it's odd.
You've never watched porn?
I have.
I'm not saying it's odd. I'm saying his partner. He asked, and his partner said no.
Right.
And so there's no.
I'm not saying
He
that
should find other way. He tried. It didn't work. He can
listen.
He should think of new
Let
ideas.
Let me ask you this. Hey, sweetheart, can you put a finger in my butt tonight? No. All right. I'm never asking again. Hey, we've been married. I love you. I could say anything I want. How about a finger in my butt for my birthday? No finger in the butt? All right. Dude, it's our 25th anniversary. Finger in the butt for me. Just one time. We'll get drunk. We'll roll around. We'll make believe it's not even me or you. We'll role play. I don't know. Mix it up. Finger in the butt? Sure.
Listen, he can ask as many times as he like. It sounds like that's been exhausted.
Ask to wear someone down. I think that is a really negative thing to do in a relationship, in a friendship, or
fornication.
keep going.
on a
Softcore.
on a.
But you know what I mean? I think
absolutely.
you should never try to wear someone down.
I didn't say that.
Absolutely.
I know you didn't say that. This isn't about you. This is about the question.
And I don't want you to I don't want you to think that I'm saying keep going. No's not an answer. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's his wife. No, right now. But hey, kid around maybe a couple times until she's like, fuck no, don't ask me again, and it's done. If she's kidding around, going, no, I don't know, and it's your wife for 20 years, I don't know. But I'm not saying
there are better ways to mix it up.
Fine, listen to them. They're married.
Than to throw on softcore porn. John, if things have gone stale, it's not because there's a lack of porn in your life. The idea,
soft,
soft
porn, dude.
Pornography, no matter what kind.
Soft porn is Sigourney Weaver in her underwear, an alien.
But you know that's not true, right? There's actually like a category of like
if you
want to
watch porn.
I'm upset that I'm admitting that I know what this is.
It's so weird, but the option you've already explained what the option is. You watch the soft porn, and then you go into the bedroom having watched the soft porn.
But here's my question. So the idea of asking someone over and over again a big part of being a big part of being
sure about that.
But a big part of being in a relationship is saying to your partner, I have a need that I would like met. and your partner gets to decide if they would like to be the person who meets that need or not.
Yes.
Generally, those become deal breakers. Like someone says, I know I need this. And someone says, well, I'm not going to give that to you. And then they go, well, this isn't going to work. And as far as knowing yourself, like for a long time, I had to tell I felt like I needed praise, but once I got down below it, like I generally just really need to connect with I need to hear how my wife feels about me. And words of affection are not her go-to for expressing love.
Right.
But I need that. And it's not a demand, and it's not, hey, give me this. It would really make me feel loved if I could hear this once in a while. And she says to me,
Yeah, you're expressing a desire, and she's choosing
exactly.
to fulfill it.
And she says, you know what? I can do that for you.
He's not
y'all
hang
are
on, he's
being
not
vulnerable
demanding.
with
You're
each
making it
other.
sound like he's saying, I want this and this is the way it's going to be.
No,
That's not what I'm hearing.
It just sounded like he asked, and the answer is no, and he wants
Okay,
to find backdoor ways to get this across the finish line.
Yeah, and
I just think that you
isn't
guys are
fair.
exaggerating. I disagree with you. I think that this is...
Well, get him on the phone. Let's call him back.
I mean, I'd like to because I understand where you're coming from, Chris, and where you're coming from. I'm not saying I don't, but I think you're assuming that he's like forcing this on her, and he's not.
I'm not assuming that.
He's 20. It's 20 years of marriage. It's
No
like,
one in the room is assuming that.
I'm just
You're
assuming...
hearing all of us wrong.
look, I take a shit sometimes in front of a girlfriend. I don't care. You want? I don't
What
like
does
it.
that have to do with anything?
That's
That's
soft
where my
stool,
mind-
not softcore porn.
Usually, it's
Hello.
actually nice.
No one is assuming that. I'm just saying you in relationships.
Just give me a
in re-
side eye.
You have
He
to-
does
you have
not
to
like
go-
potty talk.
You have to go sit outside for an hour. Cool down.
in a relationship, you express a need, and the partner decides if that is a need they want to meet or not, and then you decide if that is a deal breaker.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
what
how
I'm
you
saying to
move
you
on.
after 20 years, though, Chris, is if you say, Rachel, I'd love to do this, and she's like, no. She didn't say, no, never, we're not fucking doing that, don't bring it up. She says, no. So you're like, okay, I'm never going to ask her again.
Right, but imagine how
I think I might have asked again. If
Do you
I really
think the
was
normal
important to me.
human interaction goes like this? I ask once, and then I call a podcast. I think he's probably
Okay,
asked
well,
several.
maybe. Now we're projecting.
You know what,
Yeah,
John?
we are.
You know what, John? You know what, John? Okay, let's assume you've asked once and she said no.
Ask her one more time.
Say go to her. Go to her.
I'm gonna ask you one last time.
And actually, instead of just asking, think about why you want that, and think about what about that would turn you on, and then talk to your wife about it and explain yourself. And maybe through that explanation, she will hear you, and maybe something will be sparked in her.
Thank
I don't
you.
know.
Bring it
think
up
there we
to
go.
a
I think
different
that's
that.
very
topic.
wise.
And also, by the way, Chris, I agree with you 100%. Again, this whole conversation is because it's soft core. To me, it's like,
it's irrelevant.
what are you watching?
It's
What-
irrelevant. He could say, "I like
You're
to
married
watch
20 years. You
I like
can't
to watch
two
bunnies
people-
jump off a cliff."
I get
it doesn't
It's
matter.
Fine.
It's just
fine.
if she
I
wants
agree
to
with
or
you. I agree
not.
with you, Chris. Listen, this has been a delight. I had no idea I'd love this conversation as much as we did. I knew it'd be good, but this is like, I want you guys back. I think the audience is going to want you back because you're so open and you're so different in terms of like, they embrace their like,
Yeah. Again-
the reality of who they are, the anger, the sometimes or the love,
the misery of being
the
alive.
misery.
Listen,
Yeah.
to be in love with this life, to be in love with other people is to experience the entirety of it. Not to just be happy all the time, not to live the romantic fairy tale version of the things you see on film and television, but to get in to all of the shit and provide space for each other to be who we are, to feel the things we are actually feeling, whether they suck or they're dark or they're depressing, or they're joyous and free and frivolous. And I think that is why couples in your life, that's why I look at you guys that way. Because to be honest, I don't know you that well. We've hung out a handful of times. I've read your book and it changed my life, and I'm
What's
not
the name of the book again? Because I'm going to read it.
it is called You're Not That Great, but Neither Is Anyone Else.
And where can they find this? Everywhere?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere.
And-
Borders in 2007.
and
Yeah.
and reading that book actually, ironically, increased my happiness
Great.
quota.
Well, because it removes you from being a
Exactly.
slave to it.
Exactly. I'm very grateful for this conversation. I'm so glad you guys came.
Thank you for having us.
What's your
Yeah,
handles?
thank you.
On the Twitters and the Instas?
You go first, Molly.
No, you go ahead.
No.
Molly?
Twitter, it's Molly Quinn 93.
Okay.
And Instagram, it's Molly Caitlin Quinn. No spaces or anything.
That's a great name.
And
So much
Isn't it
better.
a good name?
An
Yeah, my
actress
parents
name is
almost
good,
named
yeah.
me Gates McFadden Quinn.
No.
'Cause there was,
Gates
can you imagine
McFadden
how troubling that would have been? I love
good
Beverly
name.
Crusher.
I like it.
They're like, no, you don't. This is already an actress's name.
I am aware.
From Star Trek.
I know, 'cause
I don't
you told
think you
me.
knew that.
No,
I don't
you
have
told
an
me.
actress
Okay,
name.
good. Now you
You're
know.
like, Molly Caitlin Quinn is Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, just because there's no Jews in Hollywood.
It just doesn't sound right. Elon, what's your handles?
The Year of Elan,
Mm-hmm.
E-L-A-N, and that's just a bad play on the Summer of George.
Well, this has been fantastic.
Thanks
I
for
love you
talking
both.
to us,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. You're both very handsome.
Thank you.
Very.
My heart skips a beat and I'm feeling alright. Taking everything one day at a time. You were never something I thought I might find.
And once again, a huge thanks to our presenting sponsor, Smile Direct Club. For huge discounts, go to smiledirectclub.com/podcast and use our offer code INLOVE.